Hello, I'm Dr. Catherine Horton. Today is the 27th of June 2017 and it's 1:30 a.m. in the morning. I'm making a brief report about today. Today I was again mutilated non-stop by Swiss intelligence.
We really appreciate the collaboration with Switzerland Global Enterprise.
Oh, hang on,
at the fairs.
Very interesting. In the background, the live stream has just started because I wanted to keep an eye on the actual chat today, and there was an advert. So the brief report for today is Swiss intelligence continues to mutilate me. It's non-stop. If I just look at my logbook, that's just what it looks like. It's just non-stop stuff all the time. I think the actual shots into me are fired every 2 or 3 minutes. I was woken up by headshots. I sleep under shielding. For the past year, I had to sleep under metal shielding. And at night, I crawl in and I listen to the drumming and the sound of rain as the shots are being fired into my bedroom by these degenerate psychopaths run by Markus Seiler. I think they are training up trainee degenerates. I see an awful lot of young people streaming to a building nearby, the one below the black satanic goat that appeared the day after the first assassination attempt on me. I got up from under the shielding. Well, actually this morning, what the intelligence agencies amuse themselves with is setting off the chips that I have on my skull, which we have measured in Brussels, and they cause you burning to the head. They can wake you up. I also have chips here under the skin, so you can see all this damage that is basically the nanotechnology of the chips or whatever the hell is there, just not actually my tissue not being able to take it. And then meanwhile, they also shoot in to, I think, trigger certain chips or do some experiments or just lobotomize you. I mean, the psychopathy of these degenerates, what must be kiddie fuckers, is endless. The intelligence agencies have been like this every single decade. If they weren't murdering and mutilating under the label Gestapo, they were murdering and mutilating under the label Stasi. And when that was over, the Stasi was supposedly dissolved in '89. Of course, it never was. It just morphed again with West German Stasi and continued. And it's actually in the 90s that these electromagnetic attacks on people took off. So when the Stasi finished being Stasi, they became part of the Bundesnachrichtendienst, which was the follow-on organization from the Gestapo. And then they could be Nazi Stasi together and start shooting people up with electromagnetic weapons. That seems to be the general idea. Here in Switzerland, they were always Nazi, as it seems, as Sean Ross has established. They paid for the Nazis, they funded the Nazis, the Nazi gold came here. Yeah, but now what's really funny is that the Swiss don't understand that when you have concentration camps elsewhere, you're doing acid stripping elsewhere. When you've got concentration camps in your own country, someone's going to acid strip you. Like big time. Anyway, I tried to explain that to the military HQ in Bern, but they are a bit stupid and are very, very arrogant. They are full of themselves. But anyway, I'm just saying Germany got fucked, and then Poland got fucked, and then Vietnam got fucked, and China and Russia got fucked. So I think, given that Switzerland has like 8 million people, like 2/3 of the size of London, I think you can get fucked too, people, really big time, and you seem to have an awful lot of money here, so I would be careful. But anyway, military men are not exactly the brightest people. So this is how it comes that I'm now in Zurich, and I'm being shot up by Swiss intelligence, Swiss so-called intelligence, who are too fucking stupid to understand that when they start shooting up their own people, there is some sort of foreign takeover of their country. But anyway, fact of the matter is, I woke up this morning. I'm always woken up either through the chips or through actually being shot in the body, or my muscles being made to twitch with hard shots of electromagnetic energy. And then I was trying to fall asleep again, listening to the shots, feeling what must be brain inflammation in my head, as no doubt non-stop shots were fired into me at night. That is actually the daily routine. Then I got up, I was eating breakfast at my desk, trying to, make headway with all the emails. And of course, I received 2 brutal shots into the head. And when you're being shot into the head with a microwave gun, you can, because it's depositing heat, you can hear the cavitation popping as the tissue is being boiled, your brain is being boiled, and then you can also feel the heat flush as the heat is spreading through your skull. When it hits your scalp, you can actually feel the heat. So I was shot in the head with a microwave machine gun in my study twice, one after the other, by some dodgy, training ground. Probably some little 12-year-old kid or 16-year-old dickhead was taught how to snipe with a microwave gun. I think that's what they're doing, judging by, what I can ascertain. So anyway, also most curiously, how you've got online banking, and here in German-speaking countries, you're sometimes sent a TAN list. That's like a number list, which you have to then strike out as you're using, the numbers for authentication. And I made 2 bank transfers today, and in both cases, the TAN number that I was asked to provide, I had already provided. It was already crossed out. So it means that there's either last time my bank transfers were hacked, or this time my bank transfers are hacked. And then what they're doing is that they just photograph the TAN number. They demonstrate to you that they can interpose a website. So I think my browser's interfacing with the bank site, but actually my browser's interfacing with a simulation of the login of the bank that, the intelligence agencies can project within a fraction of a second. So you send your logins through their portal, their browser, if you like. The machine logs in on that end and can send back your, expenditures and so on that have it on your account. And what you're seeing is actually like a skin, like what's it called, like a mask. And then they send that. So, when you make a bank transfer, and apparently the security software of the bank is asking you for a TAN number that you have already given, what this means is that it's not the bank asking, it's the intelligence agencies asking. And because they already broke into my flat, they photographed all the TAN numbers, they can authorize transactions using the TAN numbers that they photographed the last time they broke into my flat to actually conduct the transfer. So if I go to my bank and I say, okay, can I just check that this transfer went through, they say, oh yes, well, it has gone through, and they think, oh, you're just mad or paranoid. But in actual fact, what happened is that the authentication number that the bank asked for and that the intelligence agencies have given is different from the one that the intelligence agencies ask you to give through the mask that looks like your bank, your bank software, the website that you use to log into your online banking. So, and they did it twice today to just show, we're now pissing around with your bank stuff. And again, they can show this to me and I'm like, yeah, well, I know how you do it. And are you still busy wanking? I mean, what the fuck? But of course, the point is not to show me. The point is to train up some little, hacking grunts that the intelligence agencies want to use to hack businessmen, and actually get after real money. And then they use people like me as props to train up their little fucked in the head degenerates. And they use people who are too freaking stupid or just too corrupt to ask, like, hang on, what are we actually doing? So anyway, that was today. So my bank software was, had a man in the middle attack again. Then my legs were vibrated all day long until they are swollen up. And then something that started just a few days ago is... it started as far back as I think the first note I made is the 22nd of June. So it has been going on for 5 days now. And that is, it started on the 21st of June. But the first time I wrote it down after I'd noticed it was on the 22nd. And that is my Geiger counter alarm being set off. So I have got a professional Geiger counter, and you can see that the radiation level that's normal where I am is something like 0.1, 0.2 microsievert. Okay. Now the radiation this thing started measuring is something like 75 microsievert, and that's when I reach this device to actually read it out when the alarm goes off. So to actually give you an idea how much that actually is, because not many people are familiar with the scale, let me share my screen and let me show you this little scale here. So I hope you can see this. This is called informationisbeautiful.net visualizations and radiation dosage chart. I quite like this because it's very understandable. So there's, exposure times and so on. But here's the scale in microsievert. And 0.1 microsievert is here airport security scan, right? That's 0.1. Now, this is what I have in this environment here in Switzerland because of the mountains anyway. So 0.1. It's like I'm sitting in a non-stop airport security scanner. Okay, and then it goes up to, something like 5 microsievert is like a dental x-ray, okay? 7.5 is what you have in Tokyo, okay? If you're there for one day, 250 kilometers southwest of the Fukushima plant. But here, exposure time instant, if you go up to something like 100, that is a chest x-ray. So, so here 70 and 80 microsievert. So I get something like the dosage that shows here, something like 76 when I reach this device, okay? So if I round this to 80, and that's the instant dosage. If I go to a 1-year dosage, right, 80 microsievert over 1 year is the average total dose per person within 10 miles of the 1979 Three Mile Island accident. That was a nuclear accident. Okay, so that's a hefty dose of X-rays that people would get in a year within 10 miles of this radiation accident site, and I get it instantly. And I don't just get it instantly once, I get it instantly several times per day. So today alone, I received this microsievert 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Okay, 4 times I received it today. 4 times I received 76 microsievert. And what that means in real terms, okay, that I am being shot into with a military weapon. That's what it means. So I had this little radiation counter for, I think, over a year now. And I have never heard about, you can play around with the sensitivity, but with the current sensitivity level, which is, I think, set to something like 2 microsievert or something like that, I never heard the alarm go off. And since the 21st of June, this thing keeps going off something like 6 to 8 to 10 times per day. Okay, so that's the difference. And then when I started actually keeping it nearby so that I can be instantaneously there and see what the dosage is something like 76 microsievert. That's a lot. So Swiss intelligence run by Markus Seiler now started shooting into my body and into my study with actual what could be gamma ray beams or particle beams. It's hard to tell. So I still have to do the actual measuring device. At the moment, it's set to record beta and gamma radiation here. So when it's an instantaneous burst, you never know what the hell it is. Then, they were trying to microwave my feet, triggering what must be a chip or maybe just intense microwaving on my vagina. Then needle pain shots into my genitals, then shots to my heels, and so on, and so on, and so on. Oh yes, a tinnitus-like high-pitched tone was broadcast into my ear. That's why I know I have a chip. So they turn it on and then they just send the tone to your head. Okay, wonderful. Then non-stop irradiation of my legs all day long until they're really swollen up. That's actually done with this. It feels like really intense vibration non-stop. You can't really protect yourself. Microwaving off my throat to try to destroy my thyroid, muscle pulsing to my arms and my legs. non-stop shots into my body pretty much every couple of minutes. That's what you just heard. I'm not sure if the camera picked it up, was a shot bouncing off the aluminium, and non-stop, extremely brutal and painful shots into my body, and pretty much every couple of minutes. So just to show you here, like just look at the time scale. So between 9 and 1 a.m. I didn't really have time because I was so busy, but then I started writing, and really the timestamps where something happens, it's like, 0:43 microwaving off throat, and then muscle pulsing into the upper arm for a couple of minutes. 0:55 shot into the back on the left hand side, into the side and the kidney. Actually, no, sorry, that was the right hand side, because I do remember the shots. Then 1:01 1 a.m. microwaving into my stomach. 1:05 shot, heard bouncing off, head protection, because I had to wear this, the head protection, repeatedly 4 to 5 times in a row. And that is, you have to wear aluminium and you can just hear the shots being fired. And then on 4 or 5 different points, you can hear shots. And if you don't believe me, watch my video called Audible and Visible Shots Being Fired, okay? And then you can see what it looks like when you're being shot at by a military microwave gun. Yes, then the Geiger alarm went off at 1:06. At 1:07, I hear shots bounce off shielding again. At 1:09, the phone in the hallway has been shot at. So the phone in the hallway is like, if you put it into the charger, it makes a doo-doo, like a, welcome little note. And then if you just take it out, it doesn't make a sound. And if you put it back in the charger, it makes this note. So what these people have been doing, they fired a couple of shots into my head and off shielding so that you can actually hear it. And then they must have sniped at the phone in the hallway. So if you tilt the phone in the hallway a bit, just that it lifts off the contact and its charger, when it bounces back, when it recalls back, it will touch the charger again and it will make the doo-doo sound. But if you're sitting and you're just working and suddenly you can hear in the hallway the sound of someone placing the phone back in its charger, you think, oh my God, it's 1 a.m. I'm on my own. I'm totally on my own, and there seems to be a man in the hallway who just placed down the phone. But no, it's just some dickhead teenager sniping at you with a microwave gun from next door where the satanic goat is. What the fuck? Anyway, so that's the bullshit you're dealing with. So I'm just saying these things because these retards, the fucktards, have got a set of things that they love to do over and over. And if you don't know about this stuff, then, you get scared. But really, you mustn't. You have to sue the fuckers. So we're on the way, okay? So anyway, then I got a couple of shots in the chin, shots into my lower thighs, shots into my stomach, then a shot into my neck. And the timestamps are like 1:07, 1:09, 1:10, 1:11, 1:15, and 1:16. So every couple of minutes, they are just shooting into you. If you're new to these broadcasts and you don't know what the F is going on, what's going on is that the intelligence agencies that have been the secret services, which have been operating in secrecy, have been staffed with a bunch of psychopaths. Psychopaths hire either psychopaths, and then they started sodomizing each other and the trainee spies and mind-splitting each other with monarch programming. And they kept fucking each other and torturing each other and murdering little children in front of each other until they all lost their fucking minds. So by now, we're dealing with a bunch of addicted, serial killing, yet totally stupid, brain-wiped retards actually running amok. And they seem to be owned by what's known as the banking cartel, but it's actually a much bigger organized crime cartel. And I think they have a business plan where they just take intelligent women or women with integrity, and then they just shoot them up. And meanwhile, they train little fucktards how to be real psychopaths, like the heads of MI6. And then meanwhile, they yank one off. I think that's the business plan. And they seem to be doing it. And no amount of public cease and desist or court cases or anything can stop these fuckers. So the real question for society, and I'm sorry about the swearing, but I really want you to understand, like every time I say the word, I want you to just cringe, because these people are so cringeworthy. You have to get into the mindset, okay? So now the question is, when the intelligence agencies, by the way, we know who's doing it. The person who authorized the torture of my colleague Melanie Richan is called Jacques Reis. He's running Belgian intelligence. The person in charge of my torture and mutilation in Britain is called Andrew Parker, and he runs MI5. Now, his equally incompetent colleague running currently the German Federal Intelligence is called Dr. Bruno Kahl. And the person who runs the total psychopathic fucktards in Switzerland is called Markus Seiler. We know who they are, we know their faces, we've got voice prints, and we know where the office is, but we still can't make these fucking retards stop the crap. And I think that's a global problem. I think the intelligence agencies that have been brain split and LSD tested on and monarch programmed and generally just taken up the rear side for a very long time, they seem to be equally insane all around the world. So, you know, the KGB is also as totally, literally shafted as MI6 or the CIA or French intelligence or whatever their acronyms might be. And so is Chinese intelligence. Now, most curiously, the Chinese have recently executed a head of intelligence. And the more I see of this program, the more I think that is probably the best idea. So if billions of people come up with that as the best solution, then, you know, it might be a pretty good idea. So I think I'm working on trying to stop these fuckers with court cases, but should that fail, I think the only way is to actually have them executed, you know, because they're psychopaths. So only when they see, oh, I get killed, will they actually stop doing something, you know. Anyway, so that's the situation. And if you don't believe me, please do take the bother and just take, you know, all the past heads of intelligence and just Google. Like, you can, you know, a really good one is, for example, heads of MI6. Just take those currently not in office, you know, just go back, look at Wikipedia, take a couple of names, type in their names into a search engine combined with eugenics, Satanism, ritual child abuse, sacrifice, child abuse, or any of those things, and murder, and just see what you get. I haven't written those websites, and just see what you get. And then maybe it clicks and you think, oh, yes, I think they're serial killers. I think they're a bit... So that's the situation. So I'm sorry if you're not new to this, you probably think, oh my God, she's saying the same thing over and over again. But now let me tell you something new, which is I got a letter back from Greater Manchester Police. You can see their police number here. You can see their reference. I'm covering up my private address, that's all. And I will show you what is written here. What is written is the reply, and I'm going to read it out, okay, first, and then I can show you. So what I've been trying to do is I've been trying to get my crime report. I was microwaved into oblivion at night in a hotel in Greater Manchester when I attended the court hearing of Dr. Stephen Frost, who is also a victim of an MI5 takedown operation, in my view. He was the doctor who was campaigning to have an inquest into the death of Dr. David Kelly, the weapons expert, who died after the start of the Iraq War. Anyway, Dr. Stephen Frost had a very rough time, and I went to attend his court case, which was a very important one. And when I was in the hotel, MI5 literally microwaved my brain in my bed at night, such that the next day when I woke up, half my head felt actually damaged, actually cooked, because it was. So I went to the court hearing. I spoke to Dr. Stephen Frost, and then after the court case, I drove back I was staying in Ashton, and I went to report the crime that had been committed the night before to Ashton Police Station. I went and I spoke to the receptionist, who then made me wait for a while and then called me back in and said, you should go back to your hotel and an officer's going to come around. to your hotel room. Okay. I was naive enough to think at the time, oh yes, they probably want to see the crime scene and find out who was, for example, in the hotel room next door. Well, no, they didn't turn up for 2 hours. And then after 2 hours, it was getting quite late. It was something like getting close to 11 p.m. I called Greater Manchester Police and I said, shall I wait up for this officer or can I go to bed? Because tomorrow I have to be at court again. And then they said, no, don't worry, you can go to bed. So fortunately, I continued working until pretty much midnight, because shortly before midnight, some people turned up at my door, but it wasn't a police officer. It was men who claimed to be from a mental health ambulance. Now, the hotel I was staying in didn't have a reception. I didn't have a spy hole on my door. So when someone like that turns up at midnight to your door and you're a woman on your own, you're not going to open the door, are you? So I just told him to please go away, because I hadn't ordered an ambulance. So they said, okay, went away. And then some 20 minutes later, at midnight or after midnight, there was again a group of people in front of my hotel room. And this time there's a man claiming to be a police officer and demanded entry. Now that's really interesting, actually. You know, you just have to take in the story, because fortunately I recorded everything. I recorded already what had happened after the phone call. It's all online. If you want to follow this case or this part of the case, just go to YouTube and type in Stop 007, which is my site, and then MI5 crimes, and you should find 4 videos, right? The first one, I think, I have to look it up again, but it might be the one after when I came back from the police station. Then I recorded one after I just called the police to ask if I should stay up or not. Okay, so long story short, I fortunately asked, I said, I'm going to record. Can I record and film the entire event? When the police came into my hotel room, they said yes, and they're going to film it as well. They have these cameras on their vests. So you can see the film I made with my phone from the side, recording the entire interaction. And it's up online. Now, they sent a mental health ambulance because it's still Greater Manchester Police lives in, like, I don't know what, like the 1960s it must be. Because in the 1970s, the American embassy in Moscow was microwaved with microwave weapons. And so certainly since the 70s, it's public knowledge that microwave weapons exist. So 70s, okay? So then fast forward, 10 years, and then another 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 7. And then you're like, today, when I'm going along and I say, I've just been attacked with a microwave gun. And then the police goes like, oh my God, we're still in the 1960s. We've never heard of microwave guns or microwave weapons before. You must be mad. Or so they claim, but I can't be that mad, because if I were raving mad, they wouldn't say, I think you're so mad, you should go back out into the night, climb back into your car, and in your mad state, drive on the motorway back to your hotel. And then just be there on your own, being mad. And then, a couple of hours later, we'll get really concerned about you and send a mental health ambulance. So that was the story that I was meant to believe at the time. So clearly that was bullshit. So when I came back, and a couple of weeks later, I thought, hang on, let's just request a crime report. So I did at the start of December. Yes. And then I didn't hear back for several months from them. And then eventually in May, I wrote to them again and I said, please, could I have my crime report? And then I got a letter back from, it was Greater Manchester Police. And I'm going to publish all this conversation, by the way, tomorrow. But tonight, you'll just have the short summary. And they said, could we please discuss this matter over the telephone? I think the best way to discuss this matter would be via the telephone. So I wrote back and I said, I actually beg to differ with your assessment that this matter would be best dealt with via telephone conversation. And I said, it is of paramount importance for my court case that I receive a crime report for the incident as it has been recorded, as in no further interference. Yes, because it's evidence. Yes. And then I said, as there was no request for further information from your police station since the incident in October, and given that there was no response for several months after I requested the crime report in December, The case must have been closed already. So hence the crime report can be issued, and I was informed by your colleagues that I have a right to be given it. Okay? And I said, after the receipt of the crime report for the incident in October, I can answer all your further questions that you would like to ask me. However, as I have to document everything for the court case, and as I'm involved in public interest litigation, all communication is best conducted in writing, as I have to make my correspondence public. And then I said, in addition to the crime report, I would also like to request a recording of the telephone conversation with the police station that I made on the night of the incident. The call was made a few hours after I was sent away from your police station, and about an hour before the police arrived at my hotel room to force entry. Also, I would like to request a CCTV of the reception area of the police station, which shows me arriving and leaving the station after 2 interactions with the receptionist. And I said also, please tell me the name of the police officer who handled my case, the person who ordered the ambulance to be sent out, if there was any external message, e.g. a phone call or email from MI5 or some such organization instructing the officer to call out the ambulance, and in the case where there was no external message instructing the officer to call an ambulance, what exactly made him decide that I would need an ambulance 2.5 hours later, after having been sent home without even speaking to an officer? And fifth, the names of the police officers who came to my hotel room to force entry for the ambulance staff. Please note, their names are merely requested for the record. The police officers and ambulance staff at the scene were acting perfectly correctly. And sixth, which ambulance service supplied the ambulance? That's what I asked, Mr. Maskell. Thank you for your cooperation. Yours sincerely, Dr. Catherine Horton. So what do I get back? Dear Dr. Horton, I acknowledge receipt of your latest letter in which you state you are not willing to pass on your contact telephone number. As this is the case, and in order to progress this matter, would you please send me the details of your solicitors, and I can discuss with them the problems you experience. If you're not able to do this, it may be the case that we cannot progress this matter and we will have to close off the correspondence file. Please advise how you wish me to progress. Yours faithfully, Stephen Miskell, or Miskell, Inspector, Ashton Police Station. I know it sounds incredible, so why don't you read for yourself here? Okay, can you read that? Is the camera focusing in? That is what the man actually said. Here, can you see? So I'm going to put this up online so you'll see a high def letter. What do you write back to shit like that? I mean, you're not willing to pass on your contact telephone number. Hello? I think I've got a right to be given a crime report. I don't think it's conditional on me giving my mobile number to, Stephen. I don't think so. What the fuck do you need it for, my dears? I don't want to have any chit-chat with you. I just want to have the crime report. I contacted you to get the crime report, and you didn't send it to me in December. Then I had to contact you again after months. Then you requested a phone call when I said, please send me the crime report for, at the time, the third time. You come back with this now, that she didn't give us the phone number, so we can't write the crime report. I don't think so. And also, my crime report is not actually conditional on me having solicitors, is it? So please send me my crime report. So anyway, I thought that is a bit strange. And clearly, Inspector Miskell has his difficulties sending me a crime report. Probably because he first has to call, the creative industries in Britain has got excellent and very strong creative industries, like, the film industry and MI5, they stage all sorts of stuff. They have fantastic script writers. And probably Stephen Miskell had to first go, okay, I've got a situation here. I need a script. I need a story. And, after the script writers listened to this, they were like, sorry, mate. I mean, we're creative, but we can't really explain that away. Because she kind of put the recording online. Yeah, so there's not a fat lot we can do. So clearly, Inspector Miskell is now in the deep shits having to explain why the fuck someone who comes and says, I have been physically mutilated with microwave weapons in my hotel, the shots seem to have fired, or the microwaving seems to have come from next door, because the hotel was closed downstairs. So, either MI5 came in and microwaved me from below the hallway, or they were next door, or they climbed onto the roof and microwaved me through the entrance, or they went into the building opposite and microwaved me through the window. Either way, I was microwaved, and there are only so many places from where I could have been microwaved last night. So that's a case the police can get its teeth into. Should it try to investigate? But it didn't. They didn't want to. So anyway, after this really interesting conversation, by writing with Inspector Miskell, who has really some big difficulties, I thought, let's just call Greater Manchester Police. So I had an 18-minute phone call with Greater Manchester Police, and I'm about to type up the transcript, because courts prefer transcripts. I will also publish the audio recording, which I always make. But long story short, I found out that there is no crime number. And it's really, really interesting. I can just read out the conversation as it happened with the police station. Because good afternoon, city centre, Manchester. I mean, sometimes you can't actually hear these people, but it's the Greater Manchester Police helpline that's open 24 hours in the city centre. So if you go to the Greater Manchester Police site, you know who I called. And I say, good afternoon, I've got a quick question. There was an incident that I reported to the police, and I've heard that I can obtain my crime report. Is that correct? Do I have a right to obtain a crime report? And the answer is, the crime report? Yes. And then I say, okay, are there any conditions attached to the crime report that, for example, I need to have a lawyer to get it, or that I need to provide a phone number or something like that? Or can I just write to the police station? And the answer is, the incident, did you get a reference number at the time? And I said, yes, I did at the time, yeah. And then the question is, can I take the reference number, please? I say, yes. That is, hang on, let me just look it up. The number is 2107. What date did it happen? It was the 26th of October 2016. Okay, what's your name? Sorry. It's Catherine Horton. So Dr. Catherine Horton. Okay. Then he mumbles something. And then he says, you reported direct to the front desk. And I say, I'm sorry, does it actually say what police station I went to? And he says, yes, you went to Audenshaw, Ashton Police Station. I say, yes, Ashton, that's what it was. And then he says, there was no crime taken. And I say, there was no crime taken? He says, no, I'm just reading off the screen. And I say, okay, so this means that I cannot get a crime report? And he says, there's no crime reference to give. We give that reference number you've just quoted. We give that to people. That's called, and then he mumbled something that sounded like force wide number. So maybe that's what FWIN stands for. Okay, I say, I'm sorry, because the phone connection was just interrupted on my side. So just to repeat. So you say there was no crime recorded at the time. And he says, that's correct, yes. And I say, and that means I can't actually get a crime report. And he says, no, I mean, yes, that's correct. There is no crime to comment in a report. I say, okay, I see. That explains a lot. So if there was no subsequent investigation, it's because the police didn't actually record a crime. Is that right? And he says, that's correct, yes. And I say, okay, I see. So this means that if I write to Ashton Police Station, they also can't send me a crime report. And he replies, I don't think they will, because there's no crime. I say, okay. He says, the incident that you were reporting, for whatever reason, I don't know, they've not decided to crime it. That must be a police internal term, to crime something. I mean, you would think someone else crimes it, and then you try to solve the crime. But no, in Ashton, they crime it. And they decided not to crime it. So there was no crime. Whatever. Okay, so this is how the conversation went. Okay, so, okay, and is there a way to request an incident report or find out what the police actually recorded? because there was clearly a miscommunication. He says, right. So we don't give them out, unfortunately. Stuff that's in the details on the computer. Obviously, we're not allowed to give it out to people. And I reply, yeah. So I'm wondering, as the person who reported the crime, I mean, if the police had recorded a crime, I would have a right to obtain a crime report. But here, he says, yes. If you reported a crime number would have been generated, and then yes, of course. And I say, yeah, but you know, what's really confusing, because I went to the police station, I explained to them, I reported the crime, and you know, I was then also handed a log/FWIN number. And then the police officer said to me, you know, because I was actually sent back to my hotel at the time, and then later on a police officer was sent, and I spoke to the officer at the scene, and he said, you can request a crime report with this number. And by the way, you can look up the video. It's called MI5 Crimes, and it's the 4th episode, I think, or the 3rd, where you can see the police officers. And you can hear the police officer saying, you know, he even calls back the station, confirms the number, reads this my crime number back to me, and he says, yes, you can request a crime report. So I say to this guy, you know, I quote what his colleague said, and he even called the station and confirmed the crime number. And I said, so is this true? Can I request my crime report with this? And he said, yes. So then I tried to request the crime report, and I get all sorts of excuses, but I don't actually get the crime report. So now you're telling me that there was no crime recorded. I mean, it's not your fault, by the way, if I sound frustrated. It's not with you. I'm just really surprised, you know. And he says, I'm just reading, you know, off the screen. And he said, no crime recorded on the request that you have given me. So, wow. You go to the police station, you're given a log number, but then there's a second set, which is the crime number, and only the crime number issues a crime report. But if you report a crime, you're given a log number, and that doesn't issue a report. That still allows the police to put in the fog machine, you know, the wall of fog, and say, well, being shot in the head and mutilated so that you feel damaged the next day with intense radiation that comes through the wall, which can only be microwave radiation, with all these microwave guns being sold all over the internet, saying you're being attacked by one of these things sold off the internet is not a crime. So, woo! And then the police officer, Stephen Miskell, who's pissing me around since December, it's now the end of June, yes? So we have 7 months of pissing around by Inspector Miskell, can't tell me that there's no crime report because there was no crime. He's still, you know, playing the bullshit tango with me. I mean, what? Are these people that fucking stupid, or are they that corrupt? That's the only question. And I don't think you can become an inspector at Greater Manchester Police if you're totally stupid. So Inspector Miskell must be totally corrupt. Because the sensible thing would be, when I write to them in December, instead of ignore my first letter, just write back and say, sorry, there doesn't seem to be a crime. If you think we've made a mistake, why don't you give us more evidence or tell us what you actually wanted to record? But no, that doesn't happen. So the police goes, la, 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 please go away, please go away, please go away. If I sit here like this for several months, maybe the letter will disappear off my desk. And then another letter comes from me. And then they say, oh, well, the case is probably best dealt with if we just talk on the phone. Like, how do you investigate a crime that happened months ago by just talking to somebody on the phone? I mean, what the fuck does that make anything better? You know, I mean, Jesus. Okay, so if this is the sort of corruption, because this is corruption, by the way, okay, not for a second do I think that Inspector Miskell has just spontaneously turned stupid and forgot how to do a criminal investigation. Inspector Miskell seems to have been taken, you know, the wrong way by MI5. Probably they had a phone conversation. And he's now in real deep shits, having to somehow wiggle out of this, which he can't, because I report a crime and there's no crime report. So anyway, so here we are. What I mean, honestly, like a quick question to the chat forum. Can you tell me, what should I write back to somebody like that? Like, what is one to do with these Muppets? I don't know, because I would just write back and say, Inspector Miskell, for the 4th time, can you please send me my crime report? And should there not be a crime report, could you just please write up what happened on the day in your view, so that I can take it to the court and show, what happened on your side? I mean, oh God. Honestly, I mean, I get the same thing from the Swiss police, who I reported microwave attacks to several times. I also reported break-ins to, and I reported all sorts of stuff. And then our neighbors reported a loud argument, domestic argument, where they thought my husband attacked me with a chair, which he didn't. And all these cases, I got the report, the computer printout from the Swiss police. And in every case, even the one where my husband was meant to attack me, they write down for me that there's a suspicion that I've psychologically changed. Whoa. I mean, my psychological change shouldn't cause a break-in, right? My psychological change shouldn't make my husband attack me with a chair. Unless, of course, the Swiss think, oh, yes, fair enough. I mean, if your wife changes psychologically, of course you can attack her with a chair. I mean, that's the most natural thing to do for a husband, right? I mean, what? So anyway, of course, these police officers haven't all gone stupid. But what happens is that there's large-scale corruption emanating from the intelligence agencies, who are mutilating people systematically with microwave weapons. And then the police has to cover it up. And the police has only so many things that they can do to cover it up. They can either say, you're mad. They can just go, la, 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 la. There is no crime. There's no crime. There's no crime. And then when they get a letter asking them about the report, they just go, no, there is no letter. There's no letter. Go away, go away, go away, go away. Yeah, and that's about it. So, okay, so let's just turn this around. So by the way, if you're watching and you think that's exactly what happened to me, what we'll do is we'll take all these little letters and we'll collect them. And now we stop trying to report crimes to the police, which we clearly can't. Instead, what we'll do is we want the police to send us evidence of their corruption. So we're looking for irregularities, like you're reporting violent crime and they don't register it as a crime. Now that's an irregularity, when they pretend that microwave weapons don't exist, and Raytheon and Siemens and Aronia and many other things like Applied Energetics are just churning them out. They've got like production lines, all around the world where these things are being churned out and sold over the internet, okay? Then clearly that's an irregularity for police force. So if you are also reporting crimes to the police and you're struggling, stop reporting crimes to police and instead make them generate incriminating evidence about themselves. So thankfully, Stephen Miskell sent me incriminating evidence against Greater Manchester Police, thankfully. So I think maybe I can tease more incriminating evidence out of him if I write back. So I will, probably entertain this correspondence until he has to close off the correspondence file. Anyway, maybe I should tell him. I'm not sure. I'll check out the chat. Maybe one of you clever kids has got some sort of good tips on what the hell to do. Okay, hang on. I'm taking things out of context. Whatever you do, don't support racial nationalism or calling out the post-war propaganda. If you're commie, they'll leave you alone. We'll even encourage it. Sorry, that's probably not the answer to my question. Oh my God, there's so much text. Hang on. Do you guys have any good advice? Why don't you go find facts, pictures, and truths? It equals evidence. Yes, I do have high frequency measurements, pictures, and all sorts of stuff. I wish they could see my middle finger. Yes, I know. They vibrate me. Also, they use everything the same on me. I use meters, all ranges. I protect myself, and you can hear the hits throughout the night and day. They radiate me daily. Yes. I think when I finally die, I'm going to cross my hands over my chest and salute my murderers with both middle fingers. That's how I'm going to leave this godforsaken shithole. That's from Blue Crystal. Blue Crystal, no, that's such a defeatist attitude. I mean, yes, you can do that, but I think you should just sue the fuckers. So help me take them to court. Okay, then Year of the Rooster says House of Lords is the hub of some of this. Yes, but only some. That's the problem. Okay, then someone says it's gone on for 4 years. I know who started it. I know where it came from. Portland police. Yes, the police seem to be involved. Military and Portland police. Okay. I think all these years of physical torture has aged me at least 20 years in the last 10. I'm not even 60 yet. That's again a defeatist attitude, people. Come on, guys. It doesn't matter what your age is. All that matters is to take these people to pieces. Help me, please. Okay. Come on, guys. Okay. Okay, there's a good question. Catherine, how to get over the credibility gap when explaining the 24/7 relentlessness of the targeting? Ordinary civil folks just can't believe anyone could be so cruel, yet they are. Well, okay, you can show them this video and I can confirm. I mean, I've got my logbook diaries, right? I am being shot at every couple of minutes. It goes on and on and on like this, right? Every couple of minutes. So this is a disintegration program where the whole point is that you can, you can fire into people every couple of minutes. So that's what they do. Okay. Okay, hang on, guys. Okay, there's a lot of whinging, but come on, I need solutions. We need to find out how the hell to counter this. The Brit Pedo Protector Police are the experts on BS and brush-off techniques. Yes, they are. So we need to system judo them, and we need to collect all their BS. We have to have a catalogue of British police BS and what to do in each case. I think that's what we have to do. Okay. Okay. Oh, yes, there's a difference between a crime report and an incident number. Okay, so that's a really good terminology. So you're saying that what I was given was an incident number. Okay, so maybe I should quote that to the people. Okay, the Brit police only really care about positive disposal, aka results. Well, you know what? Then we should get into their system, because I think one of the things that really gets to them is their statistics. And maybe we should start rubbing them, a bit about the crime statistics they have on microwave weapons. So Strange Day says, I'm sure it's all quite legit, but just want to say the fall reminds me of the film Bug. Anyone seen it? You know who said that to me? It was someone called Julianne McKinney. She was going on about the film Bug, and that this fall looks like it. I tell you why I have this fall. It's because if I don't have it, the back of my head is being radiated, because that wall of my study is being irradiated. And you can try it yourself by buying a meter and then rubbing it in alu and seeing that the radiation goes down. So metal reflects electromagnetic waves, that's why. And aluminium is the cheapest metal. Copper is even better, but I can't afford this, plastering my study with copper. Okay. It's supposed to be about shared delusions between a couple. Personally, I don't buy it. I think it's foreshadowing for the crap they pull, but interesting nonetheless. Okay. Poor woman, she's so smart and using such street language. Oh, but come on, that's the whole flaming point. There are 2 points to me using swearing. Number one, when you do that, people immediately lock in. I can be all Oxford fellow on you and give you a kind of little lecture on, systems analysis, but most people won't be able to follow that. So what I decided to do is speak just like the military does, because some people from the military are watching and they immediately understand the language. Also, when you're swearing, it's very emotional and people lock onto that. So if you're not a psychopath, you will actually lock onto that and you will absorb some of the emotion. It's very, very intuitive. Of course, if you're in the US and for you guys swearing is like so bad, it's much worse than actually, popping some caps and some asses with your gun that you carry around with yourself, then of course it's disconcerting. But in Europe, it's the other way around. Like having guns and, being ready to shoot people at the drop of a hat is considered really bad here. But saying fuck is actually not that bad. So that's the difference, I guess. Okay. Still, no. Okay, so someone says police inspector or above, guaranteed Freemason, only way they get promotion. He is covering asses, period. Yes, that could be. But then again, Stephen Miskell is not being paid to kiss asses in the Freemason lodges. He's paid, for results. Okay, so someone says I was skeptical, but now I'm willing to have an open mind. Please instruct me. Well, I can't instruct. You just have to follow this because it's such a big case. Okay. If they don't see money, you don't exist to any of the authoritarian when you need help. Okay. So the people who want her dead can't find her because of the aluminium fall. No, they can find me. They can't find me, and they continue shooting into me. If you, I'm not sure if the audio is good enough. You sometimes can actually hear. It sounds like a shot. It sounds like this, but just finer, not quite this hard. And that's an electromagnetic shot being fired and bouncing off the shielding. And what that shows you is that it's blocking the shots that otherwise would be shot into my head. So to explain to you again, my study here is entirely surrounded with aluminium. It has to be, even behind the bookcases, because if it's not, I live like for months without it, and then it's a bit like in my bedroom where they just continue shooting into me. So that's why. Okay, it's to block aluminium. It's not that they can't find me. They are in the block next door, in the block of flats next door. They know where I am, but they shoot into me, and that's what I'm trying to block. The pigs, like judges, have a lot of latitude on definition, a crime or an incident. Yes, see no evil, hear no evil. Okay, get strategy. Yes, well, okay, I'm asking you guys for strategy. Come on, give me some, as Dr. Evil says, throw me a bone here, will you? If they're close enough to kill you, they are close enough for you to kill them. Yes, but I can't exactly buy myself microwave guns and gun down some people across the street, can I? Stand up for myself. Yes, I'm trying, but I can't actually kill people. Okay. The only thing I can think of is the Nuremberg Code, an international law about experimentation. Exactly, I know. That's what, once we get into court, that's what we'll have to use. You have the right idea, create endless correspondence, get them to reply until they hang themselves. Rabbit trap. Okay. Oh, wow, here's an actual pointer, because that looks like something I should check out. It's the Criminal Justice and Courts Act 2015, Chapter 2, Part 1, 26, corrupt or other improper exercise of police powers and privileges. Best wishes from Brian. Yes, okay, now that's what I'm looking for. Because earlier, what was it called? I downloaded the Police Reform Act 2002, but I have to say my forehead hit the desk before I got to anything that was of any value. Okay, I will check that out. Criminal Justice in Courts Act 2015. Okay, that goes straight into the search engine. Right, so guys, and that's what I'm saying, we have to somehow fight them with, okay, I found it. Okay, thank you for the link. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I need some sort of ammo to somehow get back to them and give them a bit more hassle. So the question is from Mark Reed, Dr. Catherine Horton, why can't you leave? Well, okay, it's like this. I started being physically attacked in Germany, and then we moved, and at first I didn't even notice this microwave weapons. Then we moved to Switzerland and they continued attacking me. And here it was so brutal and so obvious that it was clear it's microwave weapons. And then I tried to flee. I tried to flee to my parents in Germany and I was shot to pieces. Then my husband said, come on, we have to have a little holiday, just get out. And we went to Italy. And in the hotel room, my head was utterly shot to pieces. So we literally had to flee the hotel room. And then my husband was driving me back, first to our home in Switzerland, and I was microwaved in the face and in the head and shot into the head on the car drive from agent cars around us. In the home, I was vibrated as I was hurriedly packing my stuff together to then flee the home again. And then on the very long car drive to my parents in Germany, my face was burned with directed energy weapons from cars ahead. My head was shot into through the headrest from cars behind us. And when cars overtook, they shot into my chest. So this is how we drove several hours, okay? So what I came to realize, yes, I also should say I went to a victim meeting in Rotterdam, and then I was shot to pieces in the hotel room there. I was also in Belgium since then, and I was shot at in Spain as well. So after I was assaulted in Italy, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, also in France, I think on the motorway, and in Italy and in Switzerland, you come to realize, oh my God, the system is everywhere. So then you realize you're dealing with the intelligence agencies that have morphed and are equally psychopathic, and they have the same blacklists and the same extermination lists. So once you're on it, it doesn't matter if you're inside your house or if you flee to a hotel room. For example, 2 weeks ago, I had to flee to a hotel room. Then I was assaulted in the hotel room from the room next door, and so on. So you can't escape them. So what you have to do is stay put, bunker down, and then try to sue the people in court. So much about trying to leave. Okay. Police throw it away, they're involved. It's how many follow me and my friend. It's like we're the criminals when in fact it's them. That's true. And it's called deep capture. Okay, so it's called deep capture when police from the top is being captured by criminals or psychopaths or both. And we have to recapture the system. But what it means is that we have to attack people who are like this and seem to be kissing asses, probably in the Freemasons, as someone so aptly put it. And we have to force them to do their job, as it says on the tin. So, yeah. Okay, can we demand authoritative documentation on if and why we are on their list? Then use that for a lawsuit, yes. But then the problem is you have to first prove that you're on a list. There's a court case that I launched in 2016, and you can find the transcripts for that on my website called stop007.org. If you go to the bottom, court cases and evidence, you'll find the transcripts. And in the last hearing, the third hearing, I said to the judge, Judge Holgate, there seems to be blacklists run by the intelligence agencies. And even though the intelligence agencies already were taken to court over illegal blacklisting in the construction industry, even though there are reports online that you can find about people like, I think, was it Stella Remington or one of these people running illegal blacklisting companies, even all that information is there, the judge said, oh, what nonsense, and oh, I had enough, and I had enough of this stuff, and he threw a theatrical little wobbly. So that's what you have to deal with, because judges actually lie you in the face. Okay. Okay, you have to provide evidence in the context that people shouldn't have to fight for what they are entitled to: clean water, safe environment. Once you have those preponderances, then you win. Okay. Okay, hang on. Okay, so honestly, I think several things need to happen. There's not enough room here to type all of it. However, I can post it in parts if you'd like. Yes, post it in parts or email me at contact@stop007.org. Okay, whoops, hang on. Okay, I have 4 years of documentation. My friend and I were singled out. We have pictures, videos, and no one to prosecute. Hang on. Because if you've been ganged up and if you had weapons used on you and if you had stalking, then I would say you go for the intelligence agencies, because only they have access to the military weapons, the human intelligence, the surveillance networks, and can launch all of these on you. And if you reported it to the police and the police acted strangely, then it's probably because, you know, the intelligence agencies corrupted them. So I would say the people you prosecute are the intelligence agencies. First question, are you still being followed around? Yes, nonstop. Arrange a few which observe the observers with cams. Yes, but I just don't have people to do that. Doctor, if what you say is true, then my entire belief system is a lie. Yes, I had to go through that as well. But it's not that bad. It's not that bad, actually, because, and that's, I think a lot of victims have that. They think, oh my God, I'm just surrounded by criminals everywhere. No, you're not. You're just surrounded by a couple of criminals who are then swarming around you, and they kind of try to make a cloud around you. And then they also corrupt people. So I'm sure Stephen Miskell isn't corrupt 24/7. But there's one particular topic where he's, I think, forced to be rather strange and corrupt, I would say, which is the topic of microwave weapons. I'm sure that he's totally capable of investigating a burglary, a normal one. But with microwave weapons, suddenly, you know, he's not a single case. The English police, the British police, and the Swiss police just go la la la, or they try to attack you or try to smear you as mad. Oh my God, my foot is so swollen after a day of assaults. It's insane. So I literally have to wrap it in aluminium. So if you get this, this was again radiation and also I think vibrational weapons, and probably also some nanotech that they can set up. But they are now attacking one of my feet, and it's just horrific. So where was I? Your belief system, yes. And what happens is that when you have deep capture, a couple of criminals capture the top, and then the entire architecture is acting corruptly because they feel that they are forced to. But it doesn't mean that the rest of the population is corrupt. But what it does mean is that, yes, it's true, our systems are in deep capture, and they are now using us as cattle. So the police thinks, okay, the police keep us safe as long as we're productive. But if the establishment or the intelligence agencies decide that we should be used to be shredded for weapons testing or human experimentation or pharma testing, then they will make it such that the police stonewalls, you can't get help, doctors will start implanting you and you can't get help, and so on. So that's what we have to realize, that there's a top-down system that then can force people to turn against us. And it's very hard to fight these doctors, these police officers, etc., all at once. So that's what's happening. That's the only thing we have to put into our belief system. It's the possibility of deep capture. That's all. Yes, and then also you need to study psychopaths and realize that psychopaths are capable of absolutely anything, and most of the time it's stupid stuff. So that's just all. Okay. Okay. if a TI would live stream their day-to-day life, that may be a game changer, but typically they may simply back off in the case. I don't think they ever back off. That's the problem. So, but anyway, as we're putting more and more information up online, we can cross-calibrate and people realize, oh my God, that's happening to me as well. And then bit by bit, we are ratcheting forward. So that's what we're going to do now. Are you taking photographs of the people following you? Yes, I am, when I can be bothered and when it's convenient. 360-degree variable video cameras. Yes, well, hey, Catherine, that can these weapons inhibit your memory or selectively remove memories? I think they can. I think these weapons can do that. I think they can certainly affect your short-term memory. I mean, imagine being electroshocked and being shot in the head nonstop by an electromagnetic pulse. Your short-term memory can go, your brain can be damaged, memories can be wiped when synapses are snipped. I think they can monitor which part of your brain is active when you think a certain thought. In principle, if they pulse that and just take out certain synapses, they can also burn out memories, if you like, or the active area that is responsible for that. What is my IQ? I have no idea. I read state laws. They threaten me with lawsuits when in fact they need to be sued. I've been researching the Air Force satellites as the way they hit us when we go anywhere. Yes, I think so. I think it's satellites, also our mobile units and cars and many, many other things. And we should put all this research together because a lot of victims have been researching. And now we have to just find a way to just, put it together so that every one of us can use the collective ammo. So references and so on. So later on in the week, I'll be putting out calls for affidavits and reference lists and information and yada, yada, yada. And we're going to collect it in one place so that victims can very quickly just download all the information and just wave it into the face of police officers like that. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. Thank you for all your help. I think I should go to bed because it's now 20 to 3 a.m. So anyway, that's the general crime report here, the crime report that I'm generating live. I think what we should be looking is actual legal references to laws and stuff that we can quote. The Nuremberg Code is a very good one, and so on and so on. And yes, and we have to put the case together and somehow get these people to just stop one way or another. Anyway, I have to now go and nurse my leg, which is swollen up so bad I can't actually see my ankles. I have to climb under shielding and I have to get some sleep. But anyway, so stay tuned and you will hear more about this tomorrow. And good night and thank you so much for listening and all the best to you. Good night and bye for now.